there are efficiency gains through the market. Is there a problem today? Potentially not. It operates really, really effectively. Can it be better? And I think it's a question of can it be better as opposed to is it broken today?
The topic of today, and for the panel, is really around Project Acacia. So this is a joint research project by the Reserve Bank, an entity called the Digital Finance Collaborative Research Centre. The point of the research project is to understand how different forms of digital money and digital assets could add economic benefit.
The US is moving towards tokenisation, and DTC has announced that it will be tokenising assets, and that makes perfect sense for them in terms of leapfrogging technology. Now, I bring that up because I think it is inevitable that as that market moves, and given the influence it has in the rest of the world, that tokenisation will become more and more prevalent globally, and as a result of which it will reach Australia and be part of our Australian landscape.
So we were selected to participate in the pilot. We have successfully done a primary issuance in a simulated fashion, tokenised a bond, tokenised bank money, used central bank money to settle per principles of financial market infrastructure, and automated the coupon process. And we think that shows great promise.
It was a 6-month research project, and if we break it down, the technology was designed, built, deployed, tested within a 6-week period. 5.5 months went into investigation around the commercial benefits, the regulatory side of things, and public interest. So you can see where the work really is to be done yet for the industry to adopt this.
So for the most part, there's been lots of experimentation, proof of concepts and the like, but broadly speaking, we haven't seen significant institutional adoption just yet, but we think that will change. And we're starting to see banks, NBFIs, FMI operators bring these things to market. And that's usually in light of increasing customer demand. And quite frankly, nobody's asking me, can I have digital assets or tokenization? But they do want lower transaction costs. They do want reduced settlement times, and they do want to reduce counterparty risk.
Key learnings that came out of it. Technology is not the issue. There is some really cool technology out there. The market wants interoperability, it wants simplicity, and it wants clarity. And that's where we need to head to.
But what we found through exploring 4 key areas of our research, being commercial benefits, regulatory change, public interest, and public demand, that there was some, through the adoption of new financial infrastructure, there certainly was a benefit from going from sequential nature of transactions to synchronous nature of transactions, and that's a result of a combination of the technology. Off the back of that, you would assume that from reduced operational costs, that borrowing costs and access to capital should be improved. And obviously through settlement times, certainly decreased through the atomic nature of it.
Certainty of law and regulation, that's going to be something that I know will be worked on. Those gaps will be filled in the near future.
But it does have some dependencies around interoperability. Medium of exchange is a very important thing, and that's where the role of the central bank digital currency played in, because obviously issuing in deposit-based tokens or stable coins has a ramification on the bond.
When we look at what's going to drive this evolution, it really will be driven by demand, and that commercial demand is important.
I think you're going to see investors looking for tokenised assets, and I think that there's an emergence in some of the American markets already where some of the large funds are looking for tokenised assets, but I think it will be more investor-led than issuer-led.
We talk about this on a domestic basis, but we can't ignore that capital markets globally are adopting the technology. And while it is a slow incremental change, it will impact competitiveness, and I think it's why it's important that we keep pace.